Thank you very much for having me. I'm a little bit fish out of water here. I don't have the technical chops that you guys all do. I'm sure somewhere in the insides of our website we have that. I don't have access. My tech people know well enough not to give me access to the back end of the machines. So this is kind of biographical. This is a project we've been working on for a while. I'm an anthropologist working on cultural anthropologist, working on vulnerable populations now for 20 some years. We did a lot of work on the 3/11 survivors, youth activists and homeless men. Some of them ended up being the 3/11 stuff ended up being one of the largest digital archives of voices from the disasters. It's only in Japanese. Right now, I'm going to show you something we've been working on since 2017, and it's a little bit. The website is an attempt to tell a story and to support our action. So this is the website is a means to that end rather than an end in itself. This is some of the part of the story that we're trying to tell. I think we all know some of this. Japan, along with the rest of the world, has gotten all kinds of refugee applications to come here. The whole world, refugee explosion is felt everywhere, but also here. You can see from about 2010, just as the rest of the world's number of displaced population is exploding, the number of applications to come to Japan also began to explode. So we are in a little bit of a situation here where 2017 was the peak of these 2017 numbers. So while places like Germany were accepting about 25% of their refugees, and the USA about 40%, but Germany had a lot more applications. But as you can see, Japan was down here at about 0.2%. And if you look at this, with the exception of the USA, Japan's population and economy is bigger than all of these others. So usually we imagine that that's a function of how big your economy is, how big your population is. That determines capacity, how many people you can accept. Japan. So these numbers are actually making Japan look better than you would if you factor in how big and rich Japan was. So this is the start of a research project. You have all these tons of people applying for Japan, refugee asylum in Japan. So they have to come to Japan. They have to be in Japan to apply. But the number of people who are accepted is down here at this blue line. So like all research projects, I think, and all support projects, it starts with a gap. Where's the gap in our knowledge? Where's the gap in our engagement? And here we got a big gap. Where are these people? How are they living? What kind of support, if any, do they have? What kind of way do they keep ends meet? And this is where the project came from. So all of the stuff on the website all comes from student work. This is a class that I've been teaching since 2017. So all of the data, all of the writing, all of the video, and all the interview that generates the video are all from students taking classes for credit. So it's uneven quality sometimes, but it's way more than any of us could ever do ourselves. So let me just show you a little bit of the population. An asylum seeker is kind of different from a migrant. Many people have kind of a European or American idea of refugees or migrants, people who walk across a physical border carrying their belongings in different places. To come to Japan, you have to fly in, right? You have to have resources, you have to have networks, you have to have some people who are knowing what you are. So these refugees who are looking for asylum have to be able to get all the way over here. When they get over here, until they get recognized, which is, as we saw, less than 1%, they oftentimes have no health care, no work permission, no ID cards. And for those of you who are in Japan, without your ID card, you can't do almost nothing, actually. And sometimes this goes on for decades. So if you look at them, these are quite educated, multicultural, multilingual people. Most of them are political refugees. They're labor union activists. They are people who defied or challenged their own government. They're victims of civil war, sectarian violence, something like that. So it's a little bit different from our understanding of who a refugee is. This is the top page of our website, and I'm just going to show you just a little bit of this, just unpack it a little bit. So our narrators, we've been working our way. Every semester we get 2 or 3 new narrators. A class is about 12 people. 6 people will do Gabriel, 6 people will do Sunday. They'll usually interview them 5 or 6 times over the course of the semester, transcribing the interviews, coding them, analyzing them, trying to figure out how to become better interviewers by the end of the semester, and how to tell everyone's story. If you end up in Japan, you've gone in all kinds of different directions. So there's no one refugee story. To be here is not what anybody imagined, not what anybody planned. So the stories are very diverse. So it takes a long time to tell the story, to understand how the story works. So it takes a lot of interviews. If we look at Sundays, for example, so here's our refugees from a whole bunch of different places. All of these people are up there. Everybody also, all of these are in English and Japanese except for our last semester. And it's not. If you open up Nahed, for example, what we see is Nahed's story. This is the condensed version of what they're talking about. Came from Tunisia. Here's her persecution story. This is one standard trope within the refugee narrative. Look at Nahed's story. We start, basically what we're doing is going through her interviews to try to pluck out moments of 1 to 2 or 3 minutes long that capture something that we think is important and communicable to other people. But usually, in order to make this short clip have the power that we felt when we watched it, we have to provide content. So the challenge of this project is to provide as much content as necessary, but this is just a YouTube video to be able to let them watch these clips in ways that make sense for them. Each clip, each person probably has about 20 clips, and the text is somewhere between 12 and 20,000 words per narrative. That's a semester's worth of work. As you can see, it's taken on different days, different locations. This is on Zoom, which we did for quite a while while it was necessary. We do have a methodology section here that kind of goes through in a more concrete way our interview technique, selection of narrators, the quotes, consent forms, ethical training that everybody goes through, kind of technique and transcription sources. So that's the website. Underneath this website is Sophia Refugee Support Group. So everything we do, all scholarship is based also on support. Scholarship makes support targeted and meaningful, and without it, support is unfocused and not really know what it is. On the other hand, the support allows us to get to know people. And so when we come back to interview, we've already known most of these people. I've known most of the people who I just showed it to you now for 5 and 6, 7 years. We see them every month at what we call Refugee Cafe. So let me show you the clip because I don't want to run out too much of time. So this is by a Cameroonian refugee who is here. At the time, we thought we were not going to say where he's from, but he's also still being persecuted, and he was afraid to show his face. And a video without a face is not a very powerful, it's not a very communicative sort of thing. So this is what one of the students came up.
In my own country, I was a shopkeeper. So I managed shop for 10 years, then started with my own shops. So when I started my own shops, I had 2, and I was about to have the 3rd one. The war started in my region. Things were not only slow but stopped, and I had to flee to Japan. When I just arrived in Japan, I saw very beautiful environment. Gives me a very, very good impression. I was happy that very good environment, country. My hopes were I will have peace. Because I was from horrible situation. I have peace, and the next thing will be bringing my family over. I am a refugee. My present visa is refugee. Is refugee. Doesn't have sorry, you can't employ refugee visa holder. My job description is we deal with garbage, Japan garbage. Job is job where you work continuously, you are picking something, you are putting in a bag, you are throwing, you are placing very special place. It is a very dangerous environment, given your health and everything, because you have to inhale all back. You are actually weighing down your liver because your liver is working to purify the bad odor that you inhale every day. Bosses are of wild Japanese guys, so don't expect any pampering from me. I have been molested several times. A belt, a rod, so many things he has shot me with, even kicking me. That kind of behavior actually stressed me a lot. And I had to continue doing the job. I am continuing doing the job because of finances. Each time I am doing for that job, I am truly not happy. It doesn't give me any pride. It devalues my person. My visa condition in Japan is giving me a lot of stress. I like to be with my family. It's difficult to be with my family because my family also prefer that I should be alive than to come back and be killed. And that's a difficult thing. At the moment, my mind is just scattered because part of me is not with me. So I don't have enough money to plan anything in the future. We need to plan with money. So at the moment, I'm still just trying to feed myself and feed the kids. So it's very difficult for me to know exactly what 10 years beyond me. I am forced to do the job because of the condition. That's the reason why it's not helping my mind to know where my mind is. It's breaking me down seriously.
So basically, as I said, this is material that we're trying to get out to change hearts and minds. But here was an article that I wrote with the filmmaker of this before she graduated. We wrote this, we put it on Asian Pacific Journal, and focus, open source, lots of readership, right? I don't know, there was probably 100, 200, 1,000, or whatever it is, how many people read this, but 45,000 people have already looked at the website. So it communicates in a different kind of way than anything else we could do. So I think that's kind of don't ask me a lot of technical questions in the Q&A, but I'll speculate.